Hello everyone. Macrolab IT company continues to show their new products. Today we will show you a new example of an automation tool with the help of which we can easily maintain management of supplied goods and products as well as run their balance. We would like to emphasize that this type of summarized solutions are especially relevant for small and medium businesses. Of course, for big entrepreneurships, more conceptual solutions are provided. Let's now look at our working file. We see that the Excel file consists of 5 sheets. We will refer to each sheet separately during this video. In the main sheet, we can find general tools which assure general functionality, entry, editing, and register of details. In the first cell, we can see transaction types. The first one is the input of goods into a warehouse. Then comes delivery of goods, writing off from the warehouse, and the last one, reflection of registered details in the main sheet, about which we will talk later. We'll refer to each transaction separately for a more objective approach. When we choose each of transaction types, all necessary fields and columns appear in the main sheet and come to a current mode. Some fields are getting active, others are getting inactive. For a better view, let's input details of some conditional goods into a warehouse. At the moment, the warehouse is totally empty. Would like to note that here we have a sheet named Base, which is designed to keep all kinds of activities. Here we choose warehouse input, after which we choose any good from the offered list. While choosing any good's ID number, its name appears automatically. This example is designed for clothes and therefore at the top row we find a range of sizes. Colored fields help us to find out which fields are required to be filled. Now let's enter some conditional goods. For example, 20 pieces of this size and 50 pieces of the other size. Before clicking on Register button, let's enter one more item. Here would like to note that there are many checks in this file designed for avoiding possible misprints such as refraining of double input, incomplete entry and many others. And now let's click on Register button. As a result, entered items appear on the base sheet. And after this, we can already make a delivery transaction. For this, we choose Delivery tab from the list. Then, additional fields are getting active. We can choose the buyer and the currency. Let's choose US dollars. And when we choose US dollars, all titles automatically change to that currency. Then we choose the goods again. If we try to deliver a good which was not entered earlier, the field will be colored to red, warning that that good doesn't exist in the warehouse. Now let's enter valid information. 10 pieces of first good and 5 pieces of the second good. Here we have a column for the shop price of the items. And the next column is the prices by which we sell the goods to the buyer. For example, we sell goods with a 30% discount. Here we fill 30 and click on % button in order to operate it. All other fields are calculated automatically. There is a separate column for comments as well as additional supporting fields which will help to have a better view of content of the whole warehouse. There is also a separate section for the payment register. Let's not list whole functionality of the program in order not to have a longer video. Here we have also an opportunity to fill a special product ID of a common good. In that case, we will fill conditional names of each of the items. Additionally, we can also see photos of goods at the first column. When we click on Photo Add button, ID numbers are checked from a respective database and appropriate photos appear next to each item. These photos also appear later in the delivery invoice. We can easily remove photos by clicking on Photo Delete button. Let's now register the entered details. As we have already seen, all activities are displayed in the base sheet. We can also add another delivery request in order to have a more interesting example. We choose earlier entered item, but with a different product ID number. Thus, we'll deliver one more item with a common price. We fill all this information and register the entries. Actually, we have made 2 deliveries. Now we may want to see the quantity of goods remaining in the warehouse. We may do this either as a variety of reports or from the main sheet. When we choose a needed good, we see the balance of the respective table. Here we see that 9 pieces of the first good are remaining. Maybe there is a situation when we check the warehouse and find out that remaining quantity of that good is not 9 and we want to write off some of them. For this case, we click on the warehouse writing off transaction from the main sheet, then we choose the good and fill the missing quantity of items. For example, we want to write off 2 items. We fill 2 and click on Register. When we check the warehouse again, we see that the remaining quantity has become 7. After all these entries, we may want to export delivery by a respective invoice. For this transaction, we pick Fill from the Base tab from the main sheet. This time also additional buttons appear. We are offered to choose from one of invoices, that is delivery ID numbers, because each delivery received a respective invoice ID while registering. Let's choose the first invoice and click on Fill from Base button. As a result, the whole information of the invoice is generated from the database. Here we can do some editing or mark the payment details. If we want to edit some field, we just make the needed amendment on the respective cell and click on Register Edit button. After we click on Fill from Base again and see the saved figures. Based on these details, we can export the report by a needed format. Let's click on Export Sheet button, after which all delivery information will be generated with a separate file. Here we see that right next to our working file, a new table of invoice has appeared with appropriate photos. This report we can send to the supplier, print or save as a PDF file. Let's close this file and come back to our working document. Of course, while operating in this type of dynamic business, there may be a necessity to have a registry of additional expenses. For this, we have designed a separate sheet of cash flow where we can fill some inputs and outputs. For example, we fill the date, transaction type, then the flow, whether it is in or out. In our case, let's say it is out, then the amount and the currency. After filling all this information, we may want to see all transactions in one report. For this, we go to Report Sheet. Here we click on Update button and see updated details. We also have a time tool here, with which you can see details by quarters, days, years, and other ranges. It is understood that having a lag database, a variety of reports can be exported. As everything in this file is protected and a user can edit only active fields, there is an availability to add new sheets or delete them. In the end, I would like to note that the lists of goods, Partners, currencies, and other details in this file are editable, and the user may go to the listing sheet and fill or edit necessary information or change the folder address of the photos. In this video we have tried to show you a summarized description of this tool, which has got many other features as well. That's all for today. Our contacts are shown below this video. Thanks for your attention. See you.